वानुशून्योत्याख्यास्यत्यभिनन्दति च सर्वा एवाशिष आत्मन आशास्तेन काञ्चन परद इति य इदं भागवत वदात गुणकर्मणो राजर्षेर्भरदस्यानुपरिचरितं स्वस्त्ययनमायुष्यं धन्यं यशस्यं स्वर्ग्यापवर्ग्यं वानुशृणोत्याख्यास्यत्यभिनन्दति च सर्वा एवाशिष आत्मन आशास्ते न काञ्चन परद इति. Translation. Devotees interested in hearing and chanting Sravanam Kirtanam regularly discuss the pure characteristics of Bharata Maharaja and praise his activities. If one submissively hears and chants about the all auspicious Maharaja Bharata, one's lifespan and material opulences certainly increase. One can become very famous and easily attain promotion to the heavenly planets or attain liberation by merging into the existence of the Lord. Whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaja Bharata. In this way, one can fulfill all his material and spiritual desires. One does not have to ask anyone else for these things, for simply by studying the life of Maharaja Bharata, one can attain all desirable things. Translation once more. Devotees interested in hearing and chanting Sravanam Kirtanam regularly discuss the pure characteristics of Bharata Maharaja and praise his activities. If one submissively hears and chants about the all auspicious Maharaja Bharata, one's lifespan and material opulences certainly increase. One can become very famous and easily attain promotion to the heavenly planets or attain liberation by merging into the existence of the Lord. Whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaja Bharata. In this way, one can fulfill all his material and spiritual desires. One does not have to ask anyone else for these things, for simply by studying the life of Maharaja Bharata, one can attain all desirable things. Purport. The forest of material existence is summarized in this 14th chapter. The word Bhavatavi Bhavadavi refers to the path of material existence. The merchant is the living entity who comes to the forest of material existence to try to make money for sense gratification. The six plunderers are the senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, and mind. The bad leader is diverted intelligence. Intelligence is meant for Krishna consciousness, but due to material existence, we divert all our intelligence to achieve material facilities. Everything belongs to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but due to our perverted mind and senses, we plunder the property of the Lord and engage in satisfying our senses. The jackals and tigers in the forest are our family members, and the herbs and creepers are our material desires. The mountain cave is our happy home, and the mosquitoes and serpents are our enemies. The rats, bees, and vultures are different types of thieves who take away our possessions, and the Gandharvapura is the phantasmagoria of the body and home. The will of the wisp is our attraction for gold and its color, and material residence and wealth are the ingredients for our material enjoyment. The whirlwind is our attraction for our wife, and the dust storm is our blinding passion experienced during sex. The demigods control the different directions, and the cricket is the harsh word spoken by our enemy during our absence. The owl is the person who directly insults us, and the impious trees are impious men. The waterless river represents atheists who give us trouble in this world and the next. The meat-eating demons are the government officials, and the pricking thorns are the impediments of material life. The little taste experienced in sex is our desire to enjoy another's wife, and the flies are the guardians of women, like the husband, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and so forth. The creeper itself is women in general. The lion is the wheel of time, and the heroines crows, and vultures are so-called demigods, pseudo-swamis, yogis, and incarnations. All of these are too insignificant to give one relief. The swans are the perfect brahmanas, and the monkeys are the extravagant Sudras engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The trees of the monkeys are our household, and the elephant is ultimate death. Thus, all the constituents of the material existence are described in this chapter. Thus end the Bhakti Veda on the purpose of the fifth canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Material World as the Great Forest of Enjoyment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So we will offer our Mangacharan prayers before going into the discussion. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudire Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Om Ajnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalake Chakshurunilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sargana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sargana Lita Shri Vishakanitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpataribhascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Mugam Karoti Vachalam Pangun Langeti Girim Vikrupata Mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So after many weeks of discussion, we have come to the last verse of this 14th chapter. It's a very, very important chapter because it is describing about the forest of material enjoyment. So this material universe is compared to a forest, and where different jivatmas are compared to different. If you see the Prabhupada purport, Prabhupada is giving the summary. Prabhupada is giving the summary of all different, whatever the analogy is given, because this was a question asked by Parikshit Maharaj to explain the allegorical representation of this material forest. Then Parikshit Maharaj is explaining in detail. So Prabhupada is giving a summary of all those characters present in the forest, how they are entangling a Jivatma in this material world. Even though the intelligence is given to the human being, especially to understand Krishna or God, still the intelligence is, actually it is called as misdirected intelligence or misused intelligence, we can say. So because the intelligence is strong, that's why if you see in the Katha Upanishad, it is given that this whole body is like a chariot. And the whole body is like a chariot means you can see that the 5 horses represent the 5 senses. The chariot itself is representing the body, and the reins, the horses are pulled, the reins is the mind, and the chariot driver is actually intelligence. So the soul is a passenger. So if the intelligence is stronger, then actually the passenger will go to the correct destination. So that's why Krishna is also called as Partha Sarathi. So Krishna is actually, when we take shelter of Krishna, he will direct our intelligence like Partha Sarathi. So that's why Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, Tasma Sarveshu Kaleshu Ma Manusmara Yudyachai Mayarpita Mano Buddhir Mamevashasya Asamshaya. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter, the Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu, therefore at all times, Ma Manusmara, think about me and Yuddhacha. Also engage in this battlefield. That means this material life is also like a battlefield. You carry out your regular household duties with the challenges, with whatever these things are there. Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha. But Krishna is telling, Mayarpita, offer your mind and intelligence. Mayarpita Mano Buddhi. If you offer your mind and intelligence to me, I will take care. When I take care of your mind and intelligence through the process of bhakti, then Mame Vashyasi Asamshaya. Definitely, you will come to me without fail. So that intelligence is the main faculty. When the intelligence is weak, mind will take over. Mind will take over. So that is the thing. Here we can see the last is actually Palastuti. Palastuti means so far we were reading this whole chapter of episode of Bharat Maharaj. Now Sukadeva Goswami is telling any devotee who is regularly hearing and chanting these verses and understood, discusses the pure characteristics of Bharat Maharaj and praise his activities, what will be his reserve? What will be the benefit he is getting of reading these pastimes of Bharat Maharaj? So let us go into the translation, which is highlighting the Palastuti of this Bharat Maharaj episode. Devotees interested in hearing and chanting, Shravanam Kirtanam. So there should be a taste. The taste is very important. The interested word is there. Interested means the taste. Because people today, not everybody is interested in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. People are interested in hearing Gramya Katha. People are interested in hearing about material news, material things, what happened to whom. So many, they are interested, they are able to spend time, they go somewhere outside and keep spending, hearing for hours and hours together. But here specifically, it is it's highlighted that who are interested to hear and about what, not about the Lord. Devotees interested in hearing and chanting regularly discuss the pure characteristic of Bharat Maharaj and praise his activity. So here it is glorified about the devotees, pure devotees, when we are discussing about pure characteristics of the devotees. Like example, yesterday we discussed, highlighted about the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, how he was sacrificing his entire life for, uplifting the souls who are in ignorant. He was showing so much compassion that at the age of 69 years, he's taking a cargo ship, going to an unknown land without money, without support, and he's trying to give this knowledge to people who are suffering in this material world. So about the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, devotional service, practices, everything. So that is how, when we are discussing what happens, there are two things basically: person Bhagavata and book Bhagavata. Book Bhagavata is what we are reading regularly. Who is person Bhagavata? Person Bhagavata means one who actually lives the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in his life. That is Acharya, we say, or Uttam Adhikari. Means a person who has actually living these teachings. That is called as book Bhagavata. Sorry, person Bhagavata. So Srila Prabhupada, now we see this Bharat Maharaj episode, how he is actually personified as a person Bhagavata. Because Bharat Maharaj is an emperor of the whole universe. He has all the wealth, uh, beautiful wife, children, and we might have listened this about his glorious Vairagya, that even though he had big land, he had sons, relatives, riches, and wife, normally that Vairagya is very, very difficult to come. Prabhupada also says, if a person gets Vairagya, then devotion is very, very easy. But till to get that Vairagya, when you have so much things with you, to leave that is very difficult. But Bharat Maharaj was in such an elevated position that he was able to give up all his, whatever his kingly position, whatever within him, he was able to give. And even the demigods were so much surprised by his amount of vairagya and detachment. So if we are discussing about such a glorious devotee, what happens? If one submissively hears and chants about all auspicious Bharat Maharaj, what happens? Phalasuti, Sukadeva Goswami is blessing the reader with all these blessings. One lifespan and material affluences certainly increases. And one can become very famous and easily attain promotion to the heavenly planets or attain liberation by merging into the existence of the Lord. See, of course, who is praising the glorious activities of Bharat Maharaj? Definitely he is not a person who will be too much into desiring for material affluences, because people who are too much into material affluence, they are not interested in Srimad Bhagavatam. Because in the beginning of Bhagavatam itself, it is said that dharma projito kaito atra dharma nirmatsaranam. This all kind of cheating religion is already rejected in Bhagavatam. So whoever is coming inside this Bhagavatam, they are not attached very much materially, but still they will get blessings. One become very famous and easily attain promotion to the heavenly planets or attain liberation by merging into the existence of the Lord. So whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaj Bharat. Also, one way this is given, this Phalasuti is given, so that it will also encourage even the materialistic people to read Srimad Bhagavatam. when they hear this Falasuti, they may think, oh, let me read Srimad Bhagavatam, let me read about Bharat Maharaj, and let me get all these benefits. But over a period of time, when they're reading Bharat Maharaj's pastime, eventually their heart becomes purified. That is a way, it is actually a way how to encourage everybody to read Bhagavatam. And by reading Bhagavatam, slowly our attachment towards material things will decrease and our attachment towards the Supreme Lord and his devotees will increase. So that is one secret here. In this way, one can fulfill all his material and spiritual desires. And also, as we are, our attachment towards the material things will reduce by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Naturally, our life will be more peaceful and happy. In that way also we can take. So that's why in this way, one can fulfill all his material and spiritual desires. One does not have to ask anyone else for these things. For simply by studying the life of Maharaj Bharat, one can attain all desirable things. So this is the blessing Sukadeva Goswami is giving to the readers who was regularly reading and reciting with full faith about the glorious activities of the pure devotee of the Lord, Bharat Maharaj. So let us go into the Prabhupada's purport, very brilliant purport, we can say, and very enlightening and enlivening purport. The forest of material existence is summarized in this 14th chapter. So we have been reading this 14th chapter for quite long time, various characters and how the living entity is entangled within this forest of material enjoyment. So this enjoyment is leading to entanglement. We should always say any type of material enjoyment will eventually lead into entanglement. It's like somebody want to enjoy this material life by smoking or drinking, eventually becomes addicted to that habit. So this mind is like that. The more it is going to enjoy, the more it gets addicted and it gets entangled. And it becomes very difficult to come out of that habit also. So we have to understand this. Any kind of enjoyment in this material world will lead to entanglement in this material world. So the word Bhavati refers to the path of material existence. So here the word expressed in this verse, Bhavati, it refers to material existence. The merchant is actually the living entity, which is expressed as an allegorical representation. The merchant inside the forest is actually the Jivatma, who comes into the forest of material existence. And why does he come here? Because a merchant means he wants to take money. A businessman opens something business only for taking the money. So here the money is representing for sense gratification. So the merchant is actually equated to living entity. The forest of material existence is actually this Bhumandala, or we can say this Brahmanda. And trying to make money is actually compared to sense gratification. And we know any businessman is not satisfied with whatever money he takes. Like this year, if the turnover is 1 crore, immediately he will put a target on next year, I should go for 1.5 crore profit. Then after that, 2 crores, 3 crores. So there is no end for his goal. So similarly, whatever amount of sense gratification a living entity will enjoy here, the mind will never get satisfied. It just wants to enjoy more and more and more. So that is the nature of this living entity here. And who are the 6 plunderers? Plunderers means we can say like thieves. The 6 plunderers, see, when you take money, also you are afraid that somebody will take that. No, the 6 plunderers are the senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, and mind. So these are actually, we can say, jnanendriyas. In that, the tongue is also karmendriya as well as jnanendriya. Because tongue as a karmendriya, it's also taste, talking, vibrating. As a jnanendriya, it is tasting. So the 5 eye, ear, nose, tongue, and touch. These 5 represent the jnanendriya, whereas the tongue represents jnanendriya as well as karmendriya. And all is being coordinated by the central. What is the central? Is CPU of the computer. There's my computer as a CPU. So these 5 jnanendriyas are actually coordinated by the central CPU called mind. And within that CPU is that actually, within that CPU is within the CPU, what is there? There is a processor. Okay, the CPU is very important in the computer. And within the CPU is the processor. What is the processor? The processor is the intelligence. The processor is the intelligence. We should be very important so we can understand this analogy. So that's why I'm giving this computer example. We are all using computer in day-to-day life. So this whole body is like a hardware and the mind is like the software. And the software, the mind is central part of the CPU. And the more the powerful the processor, Like you have this, when you buy a computer, they say this is the latest processor. The more is the powerful functioning of that computer. So the processor is actually the intelligence. And the processor is corrupted means the bad leader is our diverted intelligence. Where it is diverted means instead of diverting to spiritual things, instead of knowing about God, instead of developing our love for God, this intelligence is used how to develop, how to enjoy this material world. Because to enjoy this material world also you need some intelligence. Where I should go, what I should do, so that I can enjoy my senses. So the intelligence is used, instead of knowing about God, we are using that intelligence to enjoy. That's why it's called as misused intelligence or diverted intelligence or distracted intelligence. You can say like that. So intelligence is meant for Krishna consciousness. See, this is a very powerful, important word. Why Krishna has given us special intelligence? This intelligence Krishna is giving to know about God. Because if you see any animals, they also have intelligence. If you see a cat, the cat also has intelligence. If you are sitting in the home, it will quietly come without making any sound to take the milk. It will not make any sound because it knows if I make sound, the owner will immediately catch me. Whether it is a rat or mouse, the mouse, when it is seeing outside, it will see as soon as you put light, immediately it will go inside some dark area so that it knows that they will catch me. So intelligence is there for animals also. Intelligence is there for human beings also. But what is the difference between animal intelligence and human intelligence? Animal intelligence will be used only for four things: ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunam. Eating, mating, sleeping, defending. Only for four material functions that intelligence animals will use. It will not use for any other purpose. You can analyze any animal. It will be very intelligent for eating. It will be very intelligent for mating. It will be very intelligent for sleeping. And it will be very intelligent how to defend its life. But same intelligence we are also having. How a human being is different. That is said that ahara nidra bhaya maitunam cha samani etit pasibir naranam dharmo hi tesam adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pasibir samanam. So that intelligence is same for human beings and animals if it is used only for ahara nidra bhaya maitunam. But dharmo hi tesam adhiko vishesho. If you use that for cultivating your dharma, that means spiritual life. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesha. That is a special quality which a human being is having. That dharma, if he is not following, dharmena hina pasibir samana. So if that special, he is not using for cultivating his spiritual life, then that is actually called dharmena hina pasibir samana. Then he becomes like an animal, polished animal. So that's why Prabhupada is writing that intelligence is meant for Krishna consciousness. So you can see here, but due to material existence, we divert all our intelligence to achieve our material facilities. So what we are doing through this material intelligence, we are actually material existence. We are trying to enjoy this world, material world. We are trying to enjoy this material world. But eventually what happens? We are getting cheated at the last. So how we can feed our intelligence? How we can actually make our intelligence strong? So Prabhupada is writing, everything belongs to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But due to our perverted mind and senses, we plunder the property of the Lord and engage in satisfying our senses. So when we read this statement, we get some kind of enlightenment. We get some clarity. Isha Vashyam Vidam Sarvam. Yes, whatever we see in this material world, we know that it is not our property. We did not create all these things. Even the senses, we have not created. Krishna created all our senses. Krishna created our sense object. Krishna created that feeling of enjoyment when the senses are interacting with the sense objects. So everything Krishna is only giving. That's why he is called as Rishikesha. That means master of the senses. So he is only giving even the enjoyment also. Whatever we are enjoying, we take a nice dish and taste it. The tongue is given by Krishna. The dish, whatever we are preparing, the vegetables, that is given by Krishna. The spices are given by Krishna. The fire is given by Krishna. So the cooking ability is given by Krishna. So everything is given by Krishna. And when you take that dish, you are enjoying, relishing the taste. That taste also is given by Krishna. So you can see that everything belongs to Krishna. And who is Krishna? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishvara, Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Adiradir Govindam, Sarva Karana Karanam. But what happens? Even though this is the fact, because of our mind and the senses actually perverted, means it is polluted. Polluted means it is contaminated due to material association. we try to plunder the property and enjoy the satisfying of senses. So in fact, we can compare to ourselves as kind of thieves because we do not acknowledge. That's why in Bhagavatam, Krishna says in 9th chapter, verse number 27, Yet karosi yajnasi yet juhosi dadasi yet tapasvasi kavanteya tat kurusva madharpanam. He's telling, Krishna is not telling don't eat, don't do any activity. Do everything as an offering to me. So before eating, offer to me because it is my property. I will bless it, bless that food. So you become purified. Before doing any activity, think it is for my happiness. So we say Sarvam Krishna Arpanamastu. We offer this activity for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We say Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat means it is offered for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in that way, we can counteract. We can dovetail whatever we are doing. Krishna is not telling don't work. Krishna is not telling don't eat. Doing in the service of the Lord. In that way, we can actually become real enjoyer of the senses, satisfy our senses. So now, if you go into the purport, Prabhupada is giving the examples, like whatever characters was presented before in these verses, like each and every entity in the forest, what it is representing. That Prabhupada is giving a summary study in this purport now. So the jackals and tigers in the forest, they are compared to our family members. So if somebody is reading new who is not actually seasoned into Krishna consciousness, he may feel very upset. Why? The scripture is telling like that. The jackals and tigers in the forest are our family members. Why it is said like that? Because we should understand from the spiritual perspective, not in the material perspective. Because if spiritual perspective means they don't allow us to progress spiritually. They are attacking our spiritual progress. Of course, again, this is for Grahamathis. Grahamathis means one who is not having a spiritual ambition. For Grihasthas, if the family is actually God-centered, Krishna-centered, then it will not be applicable. These jackals or tigers is not applicable because they support our progress in spiritual life. So we should always understand in what context these things are spoken. These things are spoken on the context of when a person is a Grahamathi, not as a person as Grihastha. So that if the acharyas are explaining that, if you don't understand that, somebody may be demotivated by reading that it is condemning all these things. Okay. So the jackals and tigers in the forest are our family members. So that is one thing which is explained in the material forest. And the herbs and creepers are our material desires. So you see the creepers are actually growing continuously and it will grow around the tree. It will get, the tree is getting entangled. So here you can see the herbs and creepers are compared to our material desires. And that keep on growing. The mountain cave is our happy home. See very beautifully. If you go to the mountain, there are beautiful caves. The earlier days, olden days, the rishis, they did not have any home. They go to the forest and wherever the caves are there, that is, they will take it as home. They will have a small, little amount of things for their sustenance there. And they don't build any home. They just live in their home and do their tapasya. So that's why here Bhagavatam is comparing that the mountain cave is our happy home. We say the happy, sweet, happy home, sweet home. We say like that. But if you don't use that home for cultivating our spiritual life, we again get entangled into this punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. And the mosquitoes and serpents are our enemies. So mosquito and serpents are our enemies in material life also in the spiritual life. So mosquitoes and serpents in the forest, they are compared to our enemies. So in material life also, our journey, we have some enemies. We have some friends, we have some enemies. We cannot say that nobody is having any enemy. Ajata Satru. So, like certain personalities are said that they did not have any enemies in the scriptures. But in our material life, we always have some enemies. The rats, beasts, and vultures are different types of thieves who take away our possessions. So the rats, the rat comes in the night time and takes everything. And the vultures also, they take away things. The beast also. So they are different types of thieves who take away our possession. And the Gandharva Pura is a phantasmagory of the body and home. So it is like kind of bewildered stage. This Gandharva Pura is our body and home is compared to this Gandharva Pura. Phantasmagory means some kind of bewilderment, you can say. The willow wisp is means some kind of our desire, is our attraction. Willow wisp means some dreamy desires. Willow the wisp is the attraction of gold and its color. We always hanker or dream for gold here in this material world and its color. The gold is always shining. And the material residents and the wealth are the ingredients for our material enjoyment. Definitely, without wealth, we cannot enjoy this material world. The person who does not have wealth, he cannot enjoy anything here. So the material resident, our home, and the property, whatever the wealth, the money we have, they are actually the ingredients for our material enjoyment. The whirlwind, the whirlwind is like kind of a tornado, we can say, tornado, no, which rotates. Is our attraction for our wife, and because of the whirlwind, there is a dust storm. That dust storm is our blinding passion experienced during sex. So the whirlwind and the dust storm are related together. The demigods control different directions. We know all the directions are controlled by the demigods: north, south, west, east. Then again there is north, east, southwest, like that. There are actually 8 directions, 4 plus 4, 8 directions. They are all controlled by the various demigods. And the cricket is kind of an insect which makes some different kind of sound. Is a harsh words spoken by our enemy during our absence. And the owl is a person who directly insults us. And the impious trees are impious men. The waterless river represents the atheist, because the river is without water is of no use, barren land. That is represented in atheist, because the atheist does not have any love for God, who gives us trouble in this world and the next. The atheists normally they make a lot of problems. People who are worshipping God, sometimes they break the temple also. So the atheists who give us trouble in this world and in also the next, they are representing as a waterless river. The meat-eating demons are the government officials, because they are, when you go to some official work, we are experiencing so much difficulty. Sometimes we are very much frustrated. So that is compared to the government officials. And the pricking thorns are the impediments of material lives. So if there is some kind of impediments in the material life, that is compared to the pricking thorns. So whatever we learned all these days through various verses, that is a summary study what Prabhupada is giving the purport. This is nothing new. You already read this and understood. The little taste experienced in sex is our desire to enjoy another's wife. So that is also considered as a sinful activities. Dyutam panam striya suna. Yatra chaturvida adharma. It comes under adharma. Whatever meat eating, illicit sex. Illicit sex means sex with outside marriage. So that is expressed here, adharma. And the flies are the guardians of woman, like the husband, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and so forth. That means the fly is not having any power to protect anything. So real protector is the Supreme Lord, whereas here, whatever the husband or father-in-law, mother-in-law, they are only compared as flies, because they cannot offer any real protection. Only the Supreme Lord can offer protection. The creeper itself is a woman in general. We saw the creeper in the beginning also. The lion is the wheel of time. Everything is controlled here in this material world by time. Our age goes, disease comes, death comes, everything comes, the challenges, problem, everything is controlled by the wheel of time. Like we have the recent war. Last month, there was nothing. 2 months before, everything was quiet. By the wheel of time, so much suffering is now imposed. So this is the wheel of time, it will crush. Mrityu sarva haras chaham, Krishna says in Bhagavatam. I am the time factor, I come in the form of death. The lion is the lion is compared as a wheel of time, because the lion is compared to the king of the forest. So in this material world, what is the real king is actually the time, because the time destroys everything. So that is compared to the lion. And the herons, crows, and vultures are so-called demigods, pseudo-swamis, yogis, and incarnation. Again, here the demigods are not condemned. Here the demigods, if you go for material things, Krishna says that it is not a sign of intelligence. Okay, because in one aspect, if you see, the demigods are the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But a person only goes to demigods for material enjoyment, then it is compared like a herons or crows or vultures. And the false gurus, sannyasis, and the false incarnations, pseudo-swamis, yogis, who all misdirect from Krishna. Anybody who takes the Jivatma from Krishna's shelter is compared as a herons, crows, or vultures. So that is very important point. All of these are too insignificant to give one relief. See, all of this, whatever explained above, they are very, very insignificant. They cannot give us relief from this threefold miseries of material nature. The swans are the perfect brahmanas. Here, the brahmanas or Vaishnavas are called as compared to swans. Hamsa. Hamsa means, you can see the Paramahamsa, we say. Paramahamsa means swans. They are compared to the perfect brahmanas. And the monkeys are the extravagant Sudras engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithunam. So one is compared to the Brahmanas, the swans, and the monkeys are compared to the extravagant Shudras, who are engaged only in Dharmaina Hina, Pasibir Samana, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The trees or the monkeys are our households, and the elephant is the ultimate death. The elephant is represented as our ultimate death. Thus, all the constituents of the material existence are described in this chapter. So, whatever we discussed in the past, in the 14th chapter, through various characters or various things in the forest of the material existence, where the merchant, the Jivatma, comes for earning the money, the form of sense gratification, how he is getting affected, how he is getting entangled, how he is getting cheated, where all these characters or things in the material forest is described, and Prabhupada gives a summary of all those things. So thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the 5th canto, 14th chapter, and of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Material World as a Great Forest of Material Enjoyment. So we complete here this 14th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Next, of course, we will go to the 15th chapter, which is going to describe about the further this descendants of Bharat Maharaj. So that is there in the glorious of descendants of King Priyavarta, means following this, all this further Bharat Maharaj son, Sumati, and all those things, Pratita, Pratiha, and all these dynasties are further explained in their coming 15th chapter. So that we can discuss maybe tomorrow, because this is so many things we have discussed here. If anyone devotees, you have any questions, comments, or you want to share your realizations or your understanding on these verses, please feel free to express it here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah. The important points is here. Devotee is interested in hearing and chanting. So it is the importance of Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Yes, Prabhu.
Also, that is because of this Prabhupada's
Mercy.
Yeah. So we the personal Bhagavata yesterday, Prabhu explained the Vapu Seva and Vani Seva. Only the Vani is given by the devotees, Srila Prabhupada. That is the point. You have to always hearing is an important thing. So we have to utilize our time for hearing the devotional service. That is Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or whatever the scriptures have to hear every day. And so Prabhu explained that what our enjoyment leads to entanglement. So that is why we are more addicted to that one. And the different allegory stories here, the our forest and different stories, whatever this symbol we can probably very clearly explained by example. So probably given is how we can understand this one. Different examples and different analogy. So that is an important thing we can understand from this sloga. Very fruitful. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much for sharing your understanding. Yes, Prabhu, as you said, when we hear this in the story form, you can easily understand. Otherwise, sometimes philosophy. So that's why it is explained in the form of a material forest and different characters, different things, how the living entity is getting affected or influenced by all these characters present in the state of the forest. So we can always remember these things. And one focus is actually Srimad Bhagavatam focuses how to cultivate our Vairagya. That's why these statements are very much repeated again and again. Because if you want to connect to Krishna, you have to disconnect from here. It is something like somebody is pulling you from the left hand and somebody is pulling you on the right hand. So you cannot go anywhere. So only when you leave that person one side, other person is pulling, you can go up, right? So Krishna, when we want to get connected to Krishna, naturally whatever material things which are pulling will actually stop us going up towards Krishna. So detachment is very important. And by detachment and vairagya only, we can actually control our mind also. That is also said in Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter. Krishna says, Asamshaya Mahabaho, Mano Durnigraham. Krishna says it is very difficult to control the mind, but by vairagya, Krishna says only one thing Krishna is saying, vairagya, and then by practice. Two things. One is vairagya, then practice. Then actually mind becomes controlled. So how do we cultivate that vairagya? That vairagya we can cultivate when we are actually hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And not only hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, then we have to contemplate. Like, yes, how far this is all true in my life. Yes, material life is like that only. Contemplation is very important. They say Sharanam, then Mananam. Mananam means you have to contemplate. Like a cow, first it eats the grass. After it goes and sits in a quiet place. We have seen like that, Prabhu, correct? It sits in a quiet place and it starts chewing. So like that we are hearing. And if we hear and we again just leave it, it will go from our mind. But if you are doing Mananam, then what happens? Then we become stronger. Mananam, then stronger. Then after Mananam, then we are actually implementing in our life. Third.
Apply.
Application. Because without application, you are doing Mananam. And after Mananam, you are again doing your normal routine material things. There is no. Then after Mananam, if we are implementing that in the material life, then what happens? That becomes, that jnana becomes vijnana, realized knowledge. Yeah. So that vairagya, then continuous hearing, Shravanam, then Mananam, then we are implementing that. I think that's called Nidhityas. So we are actually implementing whatever. So it may differ. Some person may implement too much number. So it depends on how much is our capability. In that, but gradual progress is required. They said the progress is more important than perfection. Because in Krishna consciousness, we can never say anytime we are perfect. Because it's infinite. So we can always progress closer to Krishna. Whatever my stand, whatever I was before, now I am, how much I am able to follow. That is a mark, For that we can get inspiration. And when I was saying this book Bhagavata also, person Bhagavata. Person Bhagavata means by seeing them also we get inspiration. If Prabhupada was not there, we will not get inspiration to read Bhagavata. Right, Prabhu? Correct, no? Person Bhagavata also is very important. So it is said that our faith is actually developing in 3 stages. First is by philosophy, like we read Bhagavata, philosophy. Second P is actually by persons, by seeing persons, like person Bhagavata. By that also we get, our faith is getting more. When we see some people surrender to Krishna and they are very happy and they are very regulated and we get inspiration. Let me also do like that. Especially when you come with association of devotees, we see other devotees, they are doing very good. We also get inspiration to do better. So first is philosophy, first P. Second P is actually by getting inspiration from people. Then our faith becomes more stronger. Then third P is practice. Sadhana. Then by the practice, then our faith becomes very solid. So 3 P's, philosophy, person, and
practice.
Yes. By those things also we can enhance our faith and cultivate our vairagya. And then get attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. Because this needs training. This needs training. Without training, it will not come. If you have cultivated so much previous life, then immediately, instantly it may come. Like your previous life, you already completed 95% of your spiritual life. Then it will immediately come. Instantly, at a very young age. Otherwise, we have to train now so that at least we cultivate from now. So it becomes easy in the future. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much for giving the feedback. Hare Krishna, Vrindaneshwari Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Here in this translation, they are told, simply by hearing, chanting and glorifying the activities of Maharaja Bharata, in this way one can fulfill all its material. Here it is written material and spiritual desire. You can explain that, no, Prabhuji? Material means...
Yes.
Spiritual is okay.
Yes,
material
Mataji?
means material and spiritual desires.
Yes, yes,
By
yes.
glorifying.
Material affluence means we know, no, Mataji. It is said that whatever we have, wealth, education, power, prestige, beauty, knowledge, these are all material affluences. So Sukadeva Goswami is saying that if we sincerely glorify, even our material things will be taken care. Because if you are in the material life, you need certain things to live also. So that there are like two, three things we can see that. One is to motivate you to go take the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because here, everybody does not come, immediately. You have to give some motivation. And second thing is, whatever you are lacking in the material things, that also will be blessed by taking the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. These two things we can take.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yes. And of course, Mataji, when we are gradually taking shelter, if somebody reads this verse accidentally, then he may come to take Bhagavatam very seriously. He will buy Bhagavatam, keep in their home, like, people reciting other like mantras, like that. He will do this, take the shelter. But gradually what happens, when we take that shelter, then we get purified also. Like even Bhagavad Gita, Krishna in the beginning, he says that you do sacrifice for demigods. So that is for preliminary level. But as you progress more and more in spiritual life, we are actually very indifferent to material things, because the mind becomes like that. The mind naturally cultivates vairagya. Even though you may have material affluences, you are not attached to them. So that blessing you will get by Bhagavatam. Also, Bhagavatam says that you will achieve whatever your material things, because certain material desires you will also have. That also will be fulfilled by taking the shelter of this Srimad Bhagavatam, especially this Bharat Maharaj pastimes. So whatever written in the scripture, we have to take as it is. This is the blessing given by Sukadeva Goswami, that anybody will sincerely hear and regularly discuss the characteristics of Bharat Maharaj, they will get both material and the spiritual desires fulfilled.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the information.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you for your very nice question, Mataji. Hare Krishna. The same thing we can see in Ekadasi also. Following Ekadasi also, there are a lot of blessings given like that. Material things, you will get this, you will get like that. In the Ekadasi Mahatmya, if you read, you can see a lot of material blessings also is provided in that. So it is one is to motivate, one is to also provide the material blessings also, because if everything in the material goes wrong, then your spiritual life also will be affected. Suppose I don't have any money, our mind will be very much disturbed also. So in one way, certain basic things are required. Some shelter is required, protection is required, blessings is required, so that our spiritual life also not get affected. And sometimes it is also said to motivate the reader, these kinds of blessings are also provided. Okay, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay. So today evening we have Chaitanya Charitamrita class online, evening 7 p.m. local time, India 9:30 p.m. So devotees who are free, please try to join this Chaitanya Charitamrita class. We are in Adi Leela now. So please make use of this wonderful opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Vancha.
for your Sankara.
Shankanath Murari,
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
to discuss? Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, sir. Project today, this discussion for this Vairagya, this practice training. Actually, by
Yes.
speaking practically, we practice, okay, we are doing this satsang kirtan, the chanting and devotee association. Somewhat we are progressing, and at least we feel before this Krishna consciousness, this little bit we are growing. So at least
yes.
We can understand. But this Vairagya, it is a big challenge. This detachment to.
Yes, Vairagya is challenging. Prabhupada itself says, Vairagya is challenging. That's why Krishna also telling, Vairagya is important. If you want to control your mind.
Control your mind and detach material desires. And this peace formula is detachment is a big challenge. That's why these 6 opulences, Krishna, this one is renunciations. So that is maybe other these bogus gurus, maybe they can give the 5. This other third renunciation, they are not able to achieve. Then they fall down again. So
yes, because Krishna is pulling you, but you hold here everything.
Yeah,
like Ashtavakra Muni was, this Ashtavakra Gita, right? So
Yeah,
he was asked this question, how, powerful is like, why Maya. So he was running and embracing one, one pillar. And he's telling, please leave me, please leave me, please leave me. He was saying like that. But who has to leave? Who is embracing has to leave. That we are not living.
we are entangled now.
That is actually Vairagya means we have to leave.
Okay.
We
So
have to
our
leave
mind,
it. How? Yeah.
our mind need to prepare for this Vairagya detachment.
Mind. Yes.
Mind need to
Vairagya
prepare.
Mind.
Mind we need to prepare to leave those things. Even material details, opulence, everything.
Yeah,
But
internal, bro. Very important point. It is internal. See, maybe you have money also. It does not mean you have to throw the money. You can use it in Krishna service. You may have knowledge. You may have beauty. Only thing, our mind should not be attached to those things. It should not hanker. It should not hanker. Whatever comes based on your destiny, that is fine. You can accept it. But only thing, we should not hanker. You see somebody, oh, he's so beautiful, I am not beautiful. Oh, he is so much wealthy, I am not wealthy. This kind of hankering for those things, that will actually take you away from Krishna. But whatever Krishna gives, you can accept for your material life. That is no harm. But everything is internal state.
So what internal mind is preparing to desire, that is it needs to start Vairagya with principles.
Yes, if Krishna gives, we have to accept happily. If Krishna takes, we have to take it, accept it happily. This is actually Sharanagati. Yes.
And most we can take as example, like Srila Prabhupada disables. They voluntarily they took for sannyasi and they leave everything, and they start teaching these scriptures based on these guru instructions. And one way they are trying to achieve this vairagya, maybe even compared to material world, material desires. So they are one step ahead to get this achieve this vairagya internally. So those are we are in this even grahastha life. Somewhat we have to bond with for the relations, everything. This by relations. Even sometimes this work nature also, it is bonding us, so that's why we are getting these inspirations during their visit. The sadhus are coming, so at least even certain short time also we are getting inspirations to get more to live from things.
Yes, bro. That's why I said, no, bro, three things. First is philosophy. If nobody will practice, you will not get inspiration. That's why you see people who are practicing it. By seeing them, you will get all that inspiration. People. Second, then by seeing that inspiration, you will also practice. Then you will develop all this vairagya.
Okay, it starts from philosophy and person and it practice. So
philosophy, people or person, you can say. That is, I said, no, person Bhagavata.
Person Bhagavata.
Philosophy, person and practice.
So these three P's like direction one by one. So one step ahead, then next second one, then second, then third. This we can bring our mind to Vairagya mode. So how to detach the essence.
Yes.
Okay, very nice, Prabhu. So today is a lot of points discussed, and Bhagavad Gita 8.7 and 9.27 and Brahma Samhita, and so many verses today we recited and the sloka discussed. And again, this the difference between Grahastha and Grahamedi, and this ones, and the enjoyment leads to the entanglement. So a lot of points today discussed. Okay, very thanks, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So, Vanchakalpatarabhascha Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Antakodi Vaishnava ki jai. Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Krishna Prabhupada ki jai. Jai. All glories to somebody. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
Thank you.